Plenty in the last few years about the life-changing magic of tidying up, cleaning up your workspace. But do you ever think about cleaning up your digital workspace? Well, with us here on 207 is our tech guy, Rich Brooks from Flight New Media, who's been giving this some thought. Thanks for coming in. Good to have you here. So why should we care about digital clutter? I mean, it's not taking up space on my desk as all my old newspapers are. Why does digital clutter matter, Rich?
So you keep those old newspapers, huh? There's a lot of benefits to decluttering our digital life. First of all, it just makes everything easier to find. But also our computers, our tablets, our smartphones, they all work more efficiently when there's less clutter. And you're right, it may not take up physical space, but it takes up space in our head. The more clutter, the more challenging it is for us actually to get things done. So you could really say that both our brains and our devices work better when there's less clutter.
All right, seems like a good thing to be doing, but we tend not to do it. Why is it that we don't declutter digitally?
Yeah, I'm sure we all have our excuses. I think one of the biggest is this psychological fallacy that as soon as we delete a file, we're going to immediately need it and we're not going to be able to get it. But it's been my experience that that's just not the case. Years ago, I had to clean up my desktop because we were using my computer for an event, and so I threw everything into a folder, which I was going to remove immediately. A year later, I found that folder when I had to go through the same process, and I realized I could safely delete all these files. They weren't all that important.
Did you get rid of them?
I did not, because I'm human. Do as I say, not as I do, but yeah.
All right, decluttering. Let's start with step one. How do we get started?
I think the most important step is to make a backup of everything, so if you do make a mistake, you're safe. I use Dropbox for this, but people can use Apple, Google, Microsoft. There's plenty of options out there that do remote backups, either free or a few dollars a month. And then I think it's as simple as just setting up a few folders on your computer. Home, financials, work, whatever it is, and one by one just take your files, and if they're important, file them away. If they're not important, delete them. And if you don't know what they are, open it up and give it a better name, because if you don't know what it is today, you're not going to know what it is in 6 months. That may seem like a lot of work, but if you break it up into 5 or 10 minutes at the end of each day, you'll find that it goes really quickly.
I like that. That sounds like a good approach. All right, so let's say you really make some progress. You make headway. There's a significant purge. How do you then keep from falling back into the old habits?
For me, it's about setting up tasks. So once a week or once a month, I go through my desktop and I go through my downloads to the places where files tend to clutter up, and just file them away or delete them as necessary. And then for photos, which is another area where we tend to have more than we actually need, every month I try and go through and I delete all my duplicates, all my blurry photos, and all those accidental photos that I took when I was trying to get my phone out of my pants. And then I use Dropbox again as kind of like an offsite storage for those files that I don't need every day.
All right, photos, good way to deal with those. How about all the other stuff, the stray notes, the emails, all that other kind of relatively trivial stuff, but still that accumulates.
Yeah. In days past, I used to worry about music, but now that everybody's streaming digital music, I don't worry about that so much. Stray notes, that's a great point. For me, I recommend you choose one platform and stick with it. For me, it's Evernote, but Google Docs, Microsoft, whatever works for you. And then email, Rob, that is a big nut to crack and possibly a topic for a future segment if you'll have me back.
I actually would have you back because I don't even know what to do with all those countless emails.
You don't have like an inbox that says like 1,000 and all those emails in your inbox, do you?
It's alarming.
You may need an intervention.
Yeah, I need an intervention, and you're the guy to do it. But as you said, a topic for another time. Rich, thank you as always. Rich Brooks from Flight New Media in Portland. We've got more information on what we've been talking about. Just head to the 207 section of our website or app. We won't clutter up your lives with unnecessary stuff. Stick around. Back in a moment.